So it's been a little while since I've made a video. I've been off doing a lot of different things and just haven't really had time to focus and put the effort into this YouTube channel as much as I would like. But I am back and ready to make some more cool, educational, and fun photography content for all of y'all. And we're gonna kick things off with a quick tips telling you everything you need to know about lens focal lengths in 5 minutes or less. All right, let's get started. I'm gonna put a timer up on the screen now. So first of all, what is focal length? In short terms, the focal length of a lens represents how far that lens can see, usually represented in a measurement of millimeters. Now, there is a technical definition to how we arrive at millimeters, but I'm not gonna get too into that today. But basically, you can think of the millimeter measurement almost like a zoom. The higher the millimeter number, the more zoomed in your lens is going to be. Focal length can be broken down into 3 main categories. You have your wide angles, you have your standard or normal lenses, and then you have your telephoto lenses. So let's talk about each of those categories and when you would want to use lenses in each category. Starting with wide angle, this usually includes any lens that is 35 millimeters or less. Depending on who you ask, some may consider it 24 millimeters or less. Most commonly, wide angle lenses are found in the form of prime lenses, or lenses with a singular fixed focal length that do not have the ability to zoom in and out themselves. Now, wide angle lenses are best used when you need to capture a lot of different things. Things like a landscape, or potentially even a city skyline. If you are working within tight spaces and you need to capture a room, for example, while you're shooting real estate, you need to use a wider lens so that you get more information into that picture than you would with a more zoomed in lens. Now, wide angle lenses, because of their design, do not create a ton of bokeh or background separation. So generally speaking, you don't want to use wide angle lenses in things like portrait photography, where you want to really separate the subject and highlight an individual thing, but rather use them when you're trying to capture a lot of different things. Now let's move on to the standard focal length. The standard focal length is often considered anything between 35 to 70 millimeters. The standard or normal focal lengths are best used when you want to show something as is. So you can think about it almost like a photojournalistic sense. If you are a photojournalist and you're reporting a story, you want to capture things as they are happening, as they are in reality, without too much of a creative flair or flourish on them. Lenses within this category are often considered the most versatile because you can very easily just point them at something and capture it without having to worry too much that you are using the wrong focal length. Within normal lenses, you'll often find the 35 millimeter prime, a 50 millimeter prime, or a 24 to 70 millimeter zoom lens. The 35 millimeter is often considered the most natural looking lens because it captures a field of view that is very close to what the human eye is able to see. The 50 millimeter is often considered a must-have prime lens within the normal range because it is very versatile to capture things like landscapes as well as portraits, often is very fast aperture at a very cost-effective price. Generally speaking, you want to use the normal or standard focal lengths when you don't have a ton of control over your environment. They're also great for if you're traveling and just want to have one lens on your camera and not worry about anything else. Now, let's move on to the telephoto category. These are lenses with focal lengths of 70 millimeters or greater. The 85 millimeter prime lens is often considered the most flattering lens for human faces, so you'll find it used very commonly amongst portrait and wedding photographers. You'll also very commonly see the 70 to 200 millimeter telephoto lens. It is a very popular lens amongst wedding photographers or anyone that is shooting in a situation where you want to be very tight and up close to your subject, but you may not be able to physically get there. So telephoto lenses are best used for things like portraits, wildlife, weddings, and just anything where you may not be able to get very close to your subject, but you want the photos to be very tight and up close. Now, telephotos are generally not going to be very useful in situations where you need a lot of things in focus, like a landscape. Now, within telephoto lenses, there is an additional category called super telephoto lenses that are often used by wildlife photographers and are oftentimes eye-wateringly expensive. Take, for example, the $20,000 Canon 1500mm lens. Generally speaking, you're probably not going to be using these on a day-to-day unless you are a serious and avid wildlife photographer, but these lenses are out there for those specialty use cases. So there you have it. That is everything you need to know about lens focal lengths and when to use them in 5 minutes or less. If you guys found this video useful or if you learned something from it, please hit that like button. If you want to see more videos like this all about photography, hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you know when the next video comes out. With that, I will see you guys in the next one.